Hey everybody, it's Jason Creel. You're watching The Lawn Care Life. In today's video, I want to talk to you about pine straw versus mulch for your flower beds, around your tree rings and things like that. Pros and cons of each one, and leave a comment below so you can tell me which one you prefer. If you're in the lawn care business, go over to lawncarelife.com. After the video, there's some resources available for you there, video courses on how to start a lawn care business or weed control fertilization business. So let's get started with mulch versus pine straw, pros and cons. All right, so we've got a big pile of pine straw here, and we've got a big pile of mulch. Now, obviously, when I get customers and they talk about weeds in their flower bed, and sometimes I'll go and they literally have virtually nothing. It's just bare dirt. So, I mean, the reason you're going to use anything in there is to help. The main goal, in my opinion, is to keep the weeds out. I mean, so this is like thin mulch, and this hence the big pile here is to redo the mulch. But putting a nice layer of mulch or pine straw is going to greatly improve your ability to keep the weeds out. Now, I mean, it still may require some spraying or some manual pulling of weeds, but this is a great first step. Now, the pine straw also can do that. As far as pros and cons, I mean, to some degree it is personal preference, but I'll tell you the differences that I've seen, both from just how effective they are to from a business standpoint. You know, at the end of the day, it's ultimately whatever you want to do. As far as how long they last, mulch, I'm going to give maybe a slight edge to mulch as far as lasting a little bit longer. I mean, when I do pine straw, I typically try to put it out twice a year if you want it looking good. I mean, you can go once a year, but by, let's just say you put it out in February or March. By the next February or March, it's looking fairly pitiful. Now, there's a difference in quality of pine straw as far as, you want to get the long needle and you want something that has good color and doesn't have a lot of trash in it. But still, a year is extended. Now, if you do it twice a year, you're usually pretty good on the quality of your straw. The mulch can also hold up there, I'd say like a little bit longer. Just give you an example, here's fresh mulch right here. Here's 1-year-old mulch. Now, it doesn't look terrible, it doesn't look great, but you see, in my opinion, it's gonna hold up a little bit longer and better than the pine straw. All right, second thing we're gonna compare is how well does it control weeds. In my opinion, on this one, I'm gonna give a slight edge to the pine straw. Now, a super thin layer of pine straw is not going to do great, and mulch can do great. But you think about mulch is basically a weed can grow easier in mulch than it can pine straw. I mean, there's nothing for a weed to grow in there. It's going to grow in the soil beneath the pine straw. But in the mulch, I mean, it's kind of mulch with a little bit of almost dirt mixed in with it. I mean, a weed could take root in there, to me, a little bit easier in the mulch than in the pine straw. So I would say, as far as weed control goes, again, you want them nice and thick, whichever one you do, but a nice thick layer of pine straw to me is going to give you a little bit better weed control than mulch. All right, the next comparison we're going to make is the ease of installation between pine straw or mulch. Well, let's just start by saying they're both a pain. Pine straw it pokes you through. You wear long sleeve shirts, which I'd recommend, but those needles will poke through there, and when you take a shower at night, your arms might be burning a little bit because of just the nature of it. People call it pine needles, and it basically pokes you. Mulch, I mean, unless you got like some nice equipment to help move the mulch around, like one of those fancy blowers that'll blow it up in the flower beds, those are great. But if you're using wheelbarrows or buckets or shovels, it's difficult. Now, in this situation, you put a skid steer on it and kind of move it where it needs to go. And there's definitely more efficient ways, but it's not quick and easy. So, and if you're just like a homeowner, it's almost worth just buying it in the bag when it's on sale. You're gonna pay more, but at least the bags are easy to move around, put it where you want to put it. Buying it by the yard is a little bit more work to move it around. So I don't know. If I had to install one or the other, I guess I'd go with pine straw. A little bit faster at it, but I hate doing it. Sometimes if you're going to trim your hedges, what you can do is trim them, blow the clippings out best you can, or rake them out, and then you can kind of cover what's left with your pine straw or your mulch to make it nice and clean. What you don't want to do is put your fresh mulch in or your fresh pine straw and then go right behind and trim your hedges. Now you got fresh, clippings all in your mulch or pine straw. And the last thing I want to evaluate on it is just which one can you make money off of. Now, pine straw, like what does a bale of pine straw cost? So it's going to vary from region to region. I understand pine straw is probably more prominent in the South, but I mean, roughly $5 a bale for this. If you get the big rolls, it's like $10 to $12. I mean, there's different qualities of it, but at $5 a bale, I mean, you can't, in my opinion, you're gonna have a hard time like quadrupling the price, you know, and charging somebody $20 a bale for it to be installed. Now, maybe some people charge that, I don't know. But mulch, I mean, oftentimes you can, you know, at least triple your price. So let's say it's, you know, $35 a yard, or maybe it's 40 or 45 or whatever you're paying for it. I mean, you know, we're charging 140 a yard for it installed. So you're, you know, tripling, maybe even quadrupling your price. And you guys can let me know in the comments what you get for your mulch, how much it costs you, and what you charge to install it. But mulch seems to be more profitable in my opinion. I'm not saying you can't make money on pine straw. I mean, if you got a deal where you can get it with a tractor trailer load at $3 a bale and you're out there charging, you know, 12 to 15 to install it, you can definitely make some money and get some help, especially if you're doing it in large quantities. But what you don't want to do, and this is a mistake I made, is, you know, you got a homeowner and they want 6 bales, and you know, you charge $10 a bale and it costs you $5, and you made $30 to go get it and install it. And yeah, you can do it while you're out there mowing the grass, but I mean, it's just not worth it for $30. So to me, in those situations, you're not going to make much money on your pine straw. Mulch it can be very profitable. I know people do big mulch installations. I know I talked to one guy, he even did it at night, had some lights set up where he could go in and do all these commercial properties mulching at night. So I would say from a business profitability standpoint, mulch is a clear favorite. My personal preference, I'm probably, I don't know, I think I'll probably go with pine straw. The other thing I want to mention real quick is just when you're edging around it, trying to keep a clean edge against your pine straw and your mulch, to me, it's a little bit easier to do with the pine straw. I flip my trimmer upside down, edging around it, and it may throw a little bit out in the yard, and I can clean that up with a blower. The mulch seems to be to make a little bit more of a mess and a little bit harder to make that nice clean edge. So for what it's worth, I'm gonna go slight edge to pine straw as far as what I'd want at my own house. If I'm running a business trying to do it to make money, probably go with the mulch if you have the equipment set up. If you don't, you can go with the pine straw because, like I said, it's easy just throwing your truck and unload it off the truck and install it. Appreciate you watching the video. Let me hear from you in the comments. I'm Jason Creel. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.